Beautiful. So I'm going to put this to the nest. So if people could share that, that'll be fantastic. Because this is a ticketed space, people have only 15 minutes to join before tickets are closed. So much appreciated if you do that retweet of the nest. We're going to be sharing some fantastic information. It's going to be a fantastic discussion. We've been waiting for this for a while. I know the Twitter Spaces community is all in uproar for our guest. I'm going to bring him up right now. I know a lot of people have a lot of questions and they want some answers. So we're going to give you some answers today. We're going to talk to the founder of Dericom, and a bunch of the team members are here that would participate. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to DM me. I can bring them up. Obviously, this is a recorded space, so if you want to have questions at the end, we'll definitely infuse them. And if you stay till the end, we have a fantastic prize as usual with these ticketed spaces. I'm going to have something very, very, very special for the investment in the ticketed spaces. So just keep that on, and I'm going to invite him to speak, and we'll get that ball rolling. So for those people that don't know, this is Monetize Monday. What we do here on this particular space, we're talking about how to best monetize your brand on social media, how to go from part-time to full-time as a creator, as an influencer, as a brand. We talked about the various tools. We interview the founders of fantastic apps like Dericom, and we get the nitty gritty. We get the information before it comes out. Idealistically, we have some great information to share that hasn't been released yet. That stay tuned. It's going to be fantastic. There's going to be great things. And as usual, just a quick reset. If you have any questions or comments, send me a DM. I'll address them as we have this conversation. But if you could do me one big favor, if everybody could go ahead to the top, there's a nest. In the nest, there's a tweet. Please retweet that. Bring some momentum in. Say, I got the ticket. Join, be a part of this conversation. I think it's essential, and go from there, because I think this is a whole new wave of monetization, ticketed spaces. A lot of people are not accustomed to it. They don't know what it's all about. So you guys have the inside scoop of how it works, all the inner workings. We're going to have more discussions on ticketed spaces later on. And obviously, if you have questions or comments, you could always DM me. So without further ado, I want to bring up my friend, Mbuga. How are you doing?
Hey, how you doing?
Good. And I'm super delighted, just like everyone else is, to find out what this Dericom is. All of a sudden you're providing analytics, you're downloading some things, you got all kind of stats and stuff. So we're gonna get to everything in today's discussion. But what we want to do is we want to give people a sense of who you are, where you came about, where this concept of Dericom came from. So could you give a sense for the people that are listening in, because this is recording not only the people listening live, but there's going to be a recording that people can listen to later. So for those people that don't know anything about you and your company, could you give people a sense of who you are and what Dericom is all about?
Yeah, sure. Well, actually, we're a team of 12 people right now, and we have been always working in social media analytics. Before Dicom, we have been providing analytics for Instagram and other social media platforms. But on the February, when Clubhouse became a thing in Turkey, I'm actually a mentor of the leading entrepreneurship programs in Istanbul.
Mm-hmm.
And we decided to make a room on Clubhouse. And when I joined the room, I instantly noticed the lack of insights, as all of you guys do. So I talked with my co-founder, Batu. He is the tech mind of our company, and asked him that if we can build an analytics platform for Clubhouse. And then we have met with them, and then built Dicom for Clubhouse, actually, on the late February. And it's been around 6 months, and almost all of power users of Clubhouse are using Dicom right now. And then we decided to support Twitter Space and Spotify Green Room when they first launched. And now, a few weeks ago, we have released our Twitter Space integration. And currently, we are talking with the Spaces team to provide even more data to you guys, and we are trying to figure out what we can do together to support creators.
Oh, that's fantastic. So when, like, how did the idea come about? Like when you first saw Clubhouse, were you like, wow, you know what this needs? This needs analytics. Were you using Clubhouse at the time, or did someone introduce you to Clubhouse? Talk a little bit more about that story.
Yeah, as I said, I haven't been using Clubhouse until that day. And our organization, I mean the entrepreneurship program, told us to do our weekly stand-up on Clubhouse. And that's why I joined it. I mean, probably all of you guys immediately think about the lack of insights when you join, because you only see the number of listeners in real time, but you don't even know the total number of listeners when the room is ended. So since we are in the business, as I said, it wasn't that hard, or it wasn't the aha moment for me, because all I see when I look at a company is analytics, because that's what we do for the five years, and that's how we came up with the idea.
Nice. And you have is the majority of your team in Istanbul, in Turkey?
Yeah, well, we are all Turkish, but we are not in Istanbul. I mean, not all of us in Istanbul. We have, as I said, we have been working for the last 5 years together. So we have traveled the world together. We had a company that made lots of money, and we were young, and we decided to shut down our offices and visit all around the world together. And so we have been in lots of countries, and some of us decided to stay on those kind of countries. So we have employees on Netherlands and on Germany, on Bali, Indonesia. Yeah, we are all around the world.
Wow. And you're currently in Istanbul?
Yeah, because of the COVID.
So it was interesting because you guys started to travel before COVID, and then now, glad you did, right? Because then people get to be in different places, which is nice. But what's good is, I think what we discussed before is that, this tool you could use anywhere. So you could actually be anywhere, not only as part of the development team, but obviously as a user, that we could just, all we need is Wi-Fi and a phone, and we're connected to a social audio app, and the three major ones being Clubhouse, Twitter Spaces that we're on now, and Green Room. So talk about, before we dive deep into Twitter Spaces specifically, how did the integration or analytics for Green Room come about? Was it the same type of thing? You saw it launch and like, okay, let's go in there and let's make sure that we provide the same services there. Is that generally how it went?
Yeah, before Twitter Spaces and Spotify's Green Room, me and Batu were talking about and wishing about more platforms to support social audio as well. And this is something we have always in our minds. And when we first saw the article about Green Room, we immediately started working on that. And I think we have shipped it in 3 weeks after Green Room's launch. And and Twitter Spaces is a different story, because as you guys know, if the space is listened by more than 1,000 people,
right,
Twitter doesn't show you their names and usernames. So it's kind of interesting, because we provide data depending on your listeners and their demographics. So it was interesting for us, and we wanted to wait a little bit to see if Twitter will change that. And now they're still showing the first 1,000, but as we talk with them, they will be providing all of your listeners' data with us via API really soon, so you won't be missing data even on those rooms.
Oh, that's fantastic. So this is a big godsend because as as hosts, that's one of the primary things that we look for is just like the data, and being able to connect with the people that are trying to go in and trying to connect with us. So the fact that you have this, and I know the APIs are available, but the fact that you guys have it so quickly, it's really like a godsend. I could just see the 100s here in the room of people just sharing, how valuable this tool is, for us. So as of right now, do you have any statistics as how many people on Twitter Spaces are using DICOM? Do you have that information, or is it still too early?
We have, but it's kind of confidential since you are asking for the numbers of people who are using DICOM.
Right.
But I can give you a number about Twitter Spaces. Looks like there are almost the same number of spaces, just like the Clubhouse rooms, and they are kind of even right now.
Oh, nice. I know that you just publicized some data of, I guess one of the biggest spaces. It was a BTS space. Yeah, isn't that crazy that one of the biggest ones there, and you were able to capture all the analytics. Were you able to work with them before they launched? How explain kind of that connection?
It's kind of funny story because she is a BTS lover, I think. And she just spontaneously started the room, and she screamed the lyrics of BTS songs, and it kind of went viral. 50,000 tweets shared about this space, and we were like, "What the fuck is happening?" And then we reached out to her, and she got her data from DICOM.
So I'm going to share that to the Nest. One of the first things we're going to share, and I think this is correct, 350,000 listeners in 3 hours, 64,000 listeners at once. And this was Carrot Bonku. I think that's how you pronounce it. And and also the average stickiness, we're going to go over what that means, of listeners was 15%. The benchmark was 7 to 10%. So how did they know about DICOM? Were they also a Clubhouse user? That's how they found out?
No, we just reached out to her directly.
Okay, so then you talked to her directly, she set up an account, and that's how you were able to measure from the point that she started it, yes? Is that how that works?
For the start, we just created an account for her and share the data to make it easy for her.
Oh, perfect. Wow, that's phenomenal. So it's stuff like that that becomes very important, especially those last pieces of content that I just shared. So if you go to the Nest, I'm going to be sharing some exclusive content in the Nest today. And one of the interesting things about these ticketed spaces is that if you join live, you're going to get rewarded. So at the very end, we're going to have a reward for all the people that stay and all the people that have participated and all the people that are in this actual space. Now, for those people that don't know, I'm actually also broadcasting on Haps. So via Haps, I'm also broadcasting not only on the Haps platform, but also on Facebook, on Twitter Live, on YouTube. So those networks are hearing the audio, but only the people in this Twitter space are going to have access to these links and all this additional data. I wanted to create something special for all the people that participated. This is why I designed it this way. So going through the link that I just shared at the very top, let's talk about one particularly new term that seems to be part of your platform, which is called stickiness of listeners. Number one, what is that? And number two, again, how did you come up with this concept of stickiness?
Well, before answering your question, you may see the Clubhouse latest tweet about the length of their rooms, because there are a bunch of metrics about socially right now. For example, the total number of listeners, or duration of the room, or the numbers of rooms created in a day. If you think about it,
right,
on the platform side, but the real metric is, are those people really listening to these rooms, or they just stop by and leave.
All right.
Because, yeah, and this is the key metric, and all of our power users are really caring about this stickiness metric, and we want to give you guys a data that shows are your listeners sticking to your room, or they are just checking out and leaving. And even on Clubhouse, if they leave, we can show you what rooms they leave for, and you can optimize your content in real time.
Interesting. So it essentially came from the Clubhouse world of stickiness because people were just coming in and out. So you figured, hey, that should be something that all these social networks should start including. And do you also include this with Green Room as well?
Yeah, we have that metric for all the platforms.
Is there any particular metric that you added because of Twitter Spaces?
Yes, the number of tweets has been shared about your space is unique for Twitter Spaces right now.
Interesting.
Because
go ahead.
I think it's a very interesting way to engage with your listeners, and I have plans about promoting it more, because on here you don't have a chat, right? When you ask a question, you check your DMs,
right,
to get the answers. But if your listeners tweet, and Twitter Space team did a really good job by adding a tweet button in a space to share a tweet about your space easily. So if they share a tweet about your space, you can see that those tweets in real time on your Dicon dashboard, so you can get your answers from your listeners without doing anything, without checking your DMs or doing nothing extra. I think this is a really cool feature, but we need to give more detail about that and we need to educate our users to how to use that feature.
Yeah, and on what you may call it, in Green Room, they also have a separate chat. Are you able to extract some of that data that they have on the side?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's good. So that's some powerful things, and each network has its own kind of messaging system. And what's interesting about Twitter in particular is the fact that we have those external tweets, right? Because the Twitter Spaces is within Twitter, versus when you're in Clubhouse, you don't really hear kind of the chatter of how much conversation is happening or what the hot takes are from the rooms, and the same thing with Green Room. So we have a little bit more flexibility, and we're going to talk about the future of what you're looking at in the next hour. I just wanted to focus and give people a baseline, because this your application came from, out of nowhere, from the Twitter Spaces community, even though you've established yourself in Clubhouse. But that gave you that luxury of being able to not only produce something quickly because you have some background, but it also gave you some, the UI is great. I think the visuals are fantastic. Your team should be applauded. Many of them are in the space now. A lot of them have joined, and maybe if a few of them wanted to speak and talk about what their role in the company is, and we could, do that a little bit later on. But I think it's good that you have a sense of each individual social audio space and how they're different, and then how the data could be extracted from each one of them, which is phenomenal. So one of the things that I want to highlight now, and this is one of the bonus pieces of content. Let me get it out. And got to go through my. All right, so we're gonna start with number one. I have a whole stream of stuff. So let me start with this one here. And we're going to talk about live data, which is great. So find out how your spaces perform in real time. Just run the show and follow the statistics on the live insights to keep up with your content. So what's great about this is that it gets you, and this is one of the first things that attracted me to the actual Darcom, is the fact that it's constantly just updating the data. For those people that are new, if you look at the tweet at the at the top, the pinned tweet, that gives you a sense of the dashboard. There's like three components that are layered on the screen there. It looks like, so if you look at the imagery, that generally appears on the right hand side. Excuse me. The graph appears, I think, at the very top, and then the analytics, the data, the numbers appear on the left hand side of the imagery. But what's cool is that you get to see all the avatars move around. And at least when I was using it, it also let me know the follower count, and it arranged the space via the follower count. Am I describing that correctly?
Yes, that's correct.
So that gives you a sense of, how the room is laid out, because I know a lot of times, even now to this day, people have this very big confusion as to how people in Twitter Spaces are sorted, right? Like we're always at the top as an individual, but how does Twitter define how they rearrange things? And at least for Diracom, it gives you at the very least by follower count from the highest to the lowest, which is great. Are you looking at potentially being able to change that dynamically into the future, so that you could look at by, for example, mutual friends?
Yeah, actually, we have something extra on Clubhouse right now, which is a retention feature. We, as companies, creators care about retention as well. So in Clubhouse right now, we show you the first-time listeners and the returning listeners. We separate them two different sections. So in Twitter, for Twitter Spaces, we will add that feature as well, but we are waiting for Twitter to add all the participants to the API, because we can do this right now, but if the room is really crowded, there will be a missed data. So we are waiting for Twitter team to add that. But you will be able to see who are listening to you for the first time and who are coming back, and who have listened to another space of you in the past.
Wow. So this is even more powerful, right? So then now, instead of just focusing on just one space, you're looking at this as an aggregate and looking at your history, which again, we're going to talk about the future of what you have planned, which I think is extremely exciting. We're going to reveal some things that haven't been discussed outside of this space. So you guys are hearing it first from the actual team that's being putting this together. And again, stay for the very end, because we're going to have some surprises for everyone that's involved and stays to the very end, which is great. Once this particular Twitter Spaces is done, the recording is going to be available. But again, the advantage of being in the space is because we have the links at the very top that are going to be accessible to just us only at the very beginning. So let's talk about some interesting things. So the next piece of tweet that I want to discuss is go ahead.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I'm going to add one more thing about your previous question. When this feature came, you will be able to click on the profiles of your listeners and see all the timeline between you and your listeners. You will be able to see that what is the first space and when was that they have listened to you, and you will be able to see all the spaces and their dates that you and your listeners have interacted with.
Wow. So even more data. So instead of just clicking on someone's name and only seeing the follower count, their bio, and some, very basic information, what you're explaining is that you're now also able to see the history of their engagement with you on Spaces, which again allows you as a host to see and or reward, if you wanted to, those people that are consistent, that have been coming to your Spaces from the very beginning. You have in one central location all this data versus having to go and download the audio, whatever, separately and go through all that stuff. It's very simplified, very straightforward, and makes it easier for you to make your Spaces better ultimately, because you get to interact with the people that have been in your Spaces and potentially ask them questions about what to improve and things of that nature. Also, because this is Monetize Monday, I also have to incorporate how you can monetize this particular piece of information that was shared. So basically, you could let your sponsors know, hey, not only are my spaces, gathering or bringing together 50 to 100 people, and the stickiness, the length of the time that they stay in my space is very high, but I also have repeat listeners and guests to my space. That allows you to then go back to your sponsors and say, we should probably create an offer for these people that are consistently showing up, or something along those lines. Does that sound like something, Bura, that you think would make a lot of sense?
Yeah, on Twitter, since the API team is really brilliant and really working hard to support creators, we will be able to you will be able to set up automations through Daikon. For example, you can send DMs to people who raise their hands, or who send you an emoji, or who have been in the for example, for the last 5 rooms spaces with you. You can send them a DM, and you can set up an offer. And you can automate through Daikon. But it will not be in the next few features that will be launched, but it will be live in a few months, I think.
Okay, which is phenomenal because again, you could integrate the best of both worlds, the data as well as the communication component of Twitter, which is essential to provide kind of, if you think about it, like an airdropped package from your spaces, right, to someone's DM, which I think is, again, it increases the value of your spaces, right? So I know some authors here that can provide, for example, hidden extra chapters that are only available as part of the Twitter space that you are involved with. So they'll see, oh, who's participated in my previous spaces, send them a DM, send them that package, or give, discounted or couponed things to buy certain book services, right? Or I see some podcasters here in this space, and you could provide again some podcasting services and things of that nature. I see some people that focus on South Florida, hint, hint, and they could provide localized content for the people that are in, say, South Florida, and say, hey, go to this particular store, restaurant, or whatever, and they could offer, hey, since we're all in South Florida, why don't we get together at this restaurant? Here's the ticket, and we go from there. So there's a lot of options that I think you provide to creators and hosts that are unique and ups the level of quality, because we're able to look at the data and make more concerted efforts moving forward, which I love. So wanted to read this tweet that I pinned to the nest. So if you go and read it, so see who you are talking to on the current page current space page. This will also help you optimize your content for upcoming spaces. So here we're going through two pieces of additional analytics. One is the age of the people that have attended your space and currently attending your space, and also the gender, which is very nice. So was that part of the conversation early because of Clubhouse and how they were, providing the data?
Excuse me, my dog just.
Oh, animals are great.
I missed you, guys. Sorry.
Oh, no worries. So I just wanted to highlight two pieces of data that is going to be very compelling for many of us, so that when we engage sponsors, we actually can let them know what the age range is and also what the gender is of our, listeners. So is that something that you've adopted from Clubhouse? Is that something that was there? How did that come about?
No, it wasn't there, and we were the first ones who came up with this feature. As usual, because we came up with features and others just copy them. But as you know, on Twitter or Instagram or YouTube, all of the social media platforms, the demographics is the key, because the brands would like to know their audience, and they have a targeted audience in their mind, so they would like to reach them out through influencers and creators. So this feature is a must for a social audio or social media analytics tool, because we basically tell you that, okay, for example, if you're a brand that targets moms, there's no need for you to sponsor a room whose audience is all of men, right? So we would like to make our creators and brands jobs easier by providing these data.
And I think you mentioned the critical term, right? Make our job easier, because this is already a lot of different things that we have to do. We have to start the room, as you saw. As soon as I got into the room, I have to tweet it out and do it. So there's a lot of things to manage as it is, and it's great to have something that allows you to even focus on the conversation while the data is being collected, and then pop in and out as you're looking at the data to make some adjustments accordingly. You know what I mean? And like you mentioned, maybe you go into the space thinking about, several offers, but then when you look at the data, you could just pick out of those offers to say, oh, I see that the majority is a little younger, so maybe I'm going to offer them this. Maybe
this is actually a really huge problem for YouTube, for example, especially in Turkey. And majority of the YouTube users and the ones who watch the videos, the audience, are younger than 20 years old. So it's really hard for brands to find a YouTuber that will benefit with their corporation. So these kind of metrics, that's why we came up with this idea and want to provide this kind of metrics.
Now, on top of that, I'm going to check something else out, if you don't mind, because that leaves me. Let me just check something really quick before I ask. Okay, great. Now, before I go on to the next secret hidden feature that we're hearing about for the first time, are you also looking at location as a possible metric?
Well, it is possible, but we can get the locations of all of your listeners. You can get some of your listeners, so this data might be misleading. That's why we didn't build that yet. But if Twitter Spaces team decided to provide that information via API in the future, we can for sure add that to the icon as well.
Yeah, I mean, location is a interesting one, because each individual user will have to indicate their location. That's one. The other piece of items to consider from a technical perspective is the fact that they could actually be running a VPN that lets their IP be kind of masked to indicate that they're from a different country. So there's all kind of different things that you have to consider. But I think having some information with a caveat to say, this is all based off of the data that they provide. Because again, we could bring that to the sponsor and say, hey, look, the majority of our, listeners are in an area that your product or service is, like the South Florida example, like I mentioned before. It'll make sense to have the majority of the listeners be from South Florida. So then a South Floridian business could be involved. If you're from New York, say you're from Harlem or something like that, that could be something that you could say, hey, go to this restaurant in Harlem, or go to this art gallery of some sort. So there's things like that I think will be beneficial. But I'm curious, and I'll even work with you guys to figure out this whole issue of location, which I think is vital. But I'm glad you've already been thinking about it, which is nice. So the next piece of information I think is phenomenal. You could actually keep up with people who tweet about your space. So within the dashboard, you have, if you look at the very top, a counter or a slider similar to the Nest. You're going to have people that are I'm speculating that it's based off of the hashtag, but we're going to go into details there. But let's assume it's the hashtag. So if someone's using the hashtag, all the tweets.
No, it's just link up to space. We got all of the shares you got, even though if they don't use your hashtag.
Okay, so so is it based off of the people that are tweeting in the space? Is that how that works?
No, if they share about your space, the tweet has your spaces link.
Okay.
So we are just looking for your spaces link.
Okay, you're looking for the filter /I/spaces in the URL to know that it's that space. Do you keep track of the spaces link, the spaces ID? Is that what you're looking at?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so from a technical perspective, you're looking at the spaces ID. Anybody, so then they don't necessarily need to be in your space. They just need to be tweeting about your space.
Yeah, they can be retweeting or quoting your space as well.
Perfect. I think that's a great suggestion or a great incorporation, because again, you have one dashboard that's leveraging Twitter specific content, and allows you as the host to like look, on occasion to see what people are tweeting. That way you don't have to minimize or dock your space and look there. So it's a very, very useful tool, from my opinion, that I think will be very valuable to many people that are going to be using your product. So the next thing is, hold on a second, let me put it up at the in the Nest. So if you go to the Nest, you can go to your audience page and export them by choosing the room you wish. This will help you set custom advertising campaigns and level up your marketing. Explain this one. This one got me very excited.
This one is really, really interesting, and it's probably my favorite feature. So you get to export all of your listeners in a single room, or you can export all of your rooms and combine them to get all of your audience. And these exports consist the Twitter usernames of your listeners. So I don't know, you guys know that, but you can actually create custom audience on Twitter ads by importing a CSV that has Twitter usernames.
Mm-hmm.
So if you export the CSV you got from us to your Twitter ad account, you can create a custom audience, and you can create ads that targets your space listeners, or you can create lookalikes, which means Twitter will then show your ads to people similar to your listeners, and this way you can promote your Twitter on Twitter with their ads. And we are actually thinking about making it even easier, and we are thinking about implementing that to Diacon, and you can just basically say that target people who have listened to me, or target people similar to them, and show this ad to them, and this is my budget, and we will take care of the rest for you. In a few months, I think it will be live on Diacon as well. But for now, you can do it manually, and I think it's a really, really good way, because even we do that for ourselves. By the way, you can do it this for your Clubhouse rooms as well, because if your Clubhouse listeners have linked their Twitter accounts to their Clubhouse accounts, we can give you their Twitter usernames as well. So even us, we use that thing. We do daily, 3 weekly shows on Clubhouse, and we retarget our listeners on Twitter to become a Diacon user, and it's really efficient.
I think that's major. I'm going to repeat. I'm going to summarize what you just said, because I think it's very important. So for those people that have run advertising on social media, from Google Ads, most notable Facebook, and you run Facebook ads. Obviously, Twitter has their ads network. It's pretty much based off of an audience. So you let it know a demographic, the age, what pages they like, who they follow, those types of things. So instead of being, generically specific, if you will, you could get really more specific and focus on those folks that have already engaged with you. So if they've already engaged with you and they spent at least half an hour to an hour in your space looking at your avatar, they know who you are, they heard your voice. You could then complement that and create some ads that are going to be focused on your next spaces. And because they already know you, the likelihood of them engaging is going to be that much higher. that means the cost of your ads is going to go down because there's already a level of people being familiar. And what's critical, unlike, for example, Facebook ads, when you could just blast it to 10,000 people or millions of people, most of those people are not going to know you unless you're a celebrity or someone notable. But because Twitter Spaces is a relatively small community, even though the entire Twitter audience is 330 million accounts, how many people are actually using Twitter Spaces, right? So we kind of all know who it is. So what that allows us to do is have a higher ROI on the ads because people are going to be familiar with those, with that small community of people that do Twitter Spaces. So you take the data from the Twitter Spaces, either one space or the collective, then you export it as with a comma separated value file, CSV. I think it's value. I think that's what the acronym is. And then you import it into the Twitter ads network, create your ads, and it could be for a future Twitter space or something else that you have to offer. And that makes life easier. Now, that's the current iteration. And if I understand it correctly, in the future, in a few months, you're looking at into incorporating much more of that data, and people could run ads or even position their ads and create a better connection between Diacom and the ads network, so you could really not have to do the exporting, importing. All the data is there, so it'll streamline the whole process of connecting to a broader audience. Did I encapsulate that correctly?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's very powerful. And I know a lot of, and for those people that want to, you're going to stand out right now because no one's running ads that way. So you have early advantage because number one, you're in the space and we're talking about it, and this hasn't been really publicized just yet. So that's number one. Number two, you're early adopter on Twitter Spaces, so you have that to your advantage. So we're really giving you an unfair advantage. It's unfair what kind of advantages you have just by listening to the space and seeing all this stuff. And if you ever want a Twitter ad, they're not that expensive. $25, $5. It doesn't take a lot. It's actually ads cost more than entering into the space today. See, I'm giving you guys a discount. See, I'm looking out. Anyway, so so next thing that I want to talk about here, which I think is pretty nice. Let me go back here. Boom. And let me add that to the very top. So if you want to make a throwback to your previous spaces, you could go and to space history and see all the spaces inside there. So this becomes valuable because you do one and you kind of move on, and then after a while you might need to find out how much you've grown from the very beginning and possibly who's attended from the beginning and all those types of things. So this gives you a good history, a good dashboard of all the things that you've been doing, which is phenomenal, which is great. Any additional pieces of content that is added onto the spaces history that you wanted to highlight?
Well, yeah, to be honest, we did a bad job on that page because we designed it for the features that in our minds in the early days. So we are really having hard times to add new things to that page. So we need to redesign that, and our product designer is working on that right now. And you will be able to see almost every data you see on when the room is live. You will be able to see them on the room space history page as well, and it will be live in a few weeks. So this page will have even more data, but right now you can see the data for the numbers, the metrics, but you will be able to see the audience and demographics and the live chart, and that you will be able to see that as well. By the way, we have missed the crucial feature. I think when I said live chart, it just came to my mind.
Okay.
On the, if you guys can swipe to.
I can put it to which one is it? The single space
one that Speed is shared.
Okay, so that is with the graph. I'll repost that one again. Hold on a second.
We recently shipped a new feature. So
the speaker count.
Yeah, Spaces can get listeners faster than normal. So we would like to give you an idea about the reason. So right now, if you hover a point on that chart, we will show that if a new speaker joined the room or a speaker left the room, so this gives you an idea about the reason of the change of the number of listeners, and we will be adding and tweets that share about your space to that chart as well, so you'll be able to see, someone has tweeted about my space, or this guy has joined as a speaker. That's why I gained lots of listeners. So it will give you that info as well.
Yeah, and I think that's powerful. One of the things that I wanted to ask is, are you able to find out, because of the fact that when you're in a space, people inherently know that you're in this space? Could you also look at not just the speaker or just someone that's joining the space, or is it just speakers and you're looking at the analytics there?
Well, it's really hard to show the listeners as well when you think about the UI, but we may think about showing the listeners who have huge number of audience, as you say, because I think it's a new thing on Twitter Spaces, right? Now they show even if your friend or someone you follow listening to a space, you see that on the top of your Twitter. I think it's new, right?
Oh yes. So what they did is they've converted the Fleets bar and they made it the space bar. But the spaces were always there for those beta users. It was always to the left. After there was enough spaces, after they've highlighted all the spaces that you could see, then it became the Fleets bar. So it's a little bit different. Yeah.
You used to see spaces that your friends speaks, right?
Yes.
Not listens. Right now, it shows you even if they only listen, it shows you the spaces, right? Am I correct?
No, so it works kind of both ways. Because they're trying to encourage people to join the space, they're trying to highlight the person that's in the space. There's actually a setting in your Twitter account that you could hide if you are a listener and you don't want people to see you. So by default, anybody that's in the space, it's going to highlight so that you know them. So that encourages you to go to the space, right? Technically, that's the way it's been designed. And they put a trigger. Yeah. And they put a trigger to say, hey, if you don't want people to know that you're listening in a space, then you could shut that off. But as a speaker, as a host, as a co-host, I don't think you could hide that. So if you're at that level, then you're gonna see that data. You're gonna see that encouragement to go in. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Now it really makes sense to add listeners with huge number of followers to that chart as well. I got you.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. So anything that promotes, I mean, this is a unique situation because we're in a ticketed space. So there's going to be less kind of volume coming in and out, just because after 15 minutes, you can't enter the room unless you've been given like a pass or something like that. But for other spaces, there's going to be a flow of people coming in and out and things of that nature. And obviously there's going to be people that are removed. So that's something, I don't know if you're keeping contact. I generally don't remove. I've only done removing when I've tested, was testing things out. But are you keeping track of people that have been removed as well as a data point?
No, we just think that they left.
I see. So that would be like an interesting kind of component. Here's another interesting.
But there's no way for us to get that data right now.
Right.
That's why.
I mean, you could sort of speculate. The way it works is if a co-host comes up and the person immediately leaves, there could be a trigger that if the co-host has blocked someone, for example, when they become co-host, that person is immediately ejected from the space. So, but you have to do some forensics. It might not be worth it. I'm not sure what the volume is of people blocking each other. I don't really mess around with that too much.
I mean,
But
it's a risky, it's a risky feature.
yeah,
it can mislead people.
Exactly. So there's a lot of things there. So quick reset. We've gone an hour now, highlighting some new features that are coming about. Like I said, we got another another hour. We're gonna announce some great things. So stay to the very end, and you'll be swept away at the arm pulling that I had to do in the back channel to make sure that you got some good gifts for staying and participating. So we were going back and forth this whole weekend. It was like arm wrestling with Bura. I kept asking. He says no. I kept asking. No, just kidding. But we'll have some good stuff, some good surprises for you guys. So one of the things that if people are interested, please send me a DM. Let me know if you have any questions or comments about Diacom and what they're all about. So
Anyway,
go ahead.
Feel free to reach out to Dennis. Dennis, please send an emoji so they can know who you are. He is our customer success manager, and he will be more than happy to onboard you to Diacon if you sign up, and you can set up a video call with him as well.
Perfect. So if it's Dennis, is that how you properly pronounce his name? Dennis? Or Denise?
Yes. Okay. Just send an emoji.
Perfect. So yeah, and we're gonna go through that in more detail as well, the onboarding process. So if anyone from the Diacom team wants to join in the discussion, talk about what your contribution is to the team, what you're focusing on, any sneak peeks of some of the new features that you're working on, that would be phenomenal. So just request the mic and we will bring you up. Feel free. Don't be shy.
It's kind of late in Istanbul.
Yeah, it could be.
They don't sleep, right?
Yeah, but it's good, and we'll potentially have another session in the future as these features develop, because I think there's a lot more things that are gonna become, that you guys are gonna be rolling out, which I think will be phenomenal. So, quick question: where did the name Diacom come from? Was there any particular reason where this name came from, or?
No, we just had that domain, and I paid lots of money to that domain. I wanted to use it.
Perfect answer. That's like the best answer I've ever heard, because a lot of people would essentially spend all this like time researching all this other stuff. It's almost like Google. Google's actually a misspelling that they just kept going with it, which is kind of funny. So the fact that Diacom comes up and it's just like, it's a cool, great name and it's phenomenal. So you guys kind of lucked out. And it's easy to remember.
It's kind of funny because since I'm not a native English speaker, I didn't know that Dire has a bad meaning. But here we are today. And I think it's still a marketing because people keep asking why is Diacon, and yeah, I mean, it's just Diacon. I have paid lots of money for that domain.
Yeah, it's dire how much money you have to pay to get that domain. But it's very funny. But I think it's great. I think what you guys are doing is good. I think this in particular, this community, it's a very small community, but it's very passionate community. We're all essentially family members. So as we are, moving forward, it's going to be very vital. And Dennis what? So for those people that are listening in, his name is, let me bring up his profile. Actually, I'm going to write it into, because I'm in HAPS. So for the people that are in HAPS, I'm going to write his.
Just invite him to the stage.
Yeah, if he's not asleep. That was the biggest thing. But he is here. This is his name, Diacom. I'm just going to write this for the people that are on HAPS so they know. Here, Twitter handle is boom. Okay, beautiful Diacom. Okay, perfect. All right. So yeah, if he wants to come up, I'm going to send him an invite to speak if he's able to. I'm not sure. So that would be pretty cool. So In this next hour, what I wanted to do is focus more on the future. I know there's certain things that you highlighted to me. I'm not sure if you want to talk about those things, but before we do, we have the man of the hour. So it's Denise. Is that how I best pronounce your name?
Yes, exactly.
Perfect.
You can say Dennis or you can say Denise.
Denise.
That doesn't matter. Yeah.
Perfect. I'm Dominican, so I'll give you the Latino flair with Denise.
Denise.
Perfect. So I know it's late over there. We just got 1 hour or so, and you can feel free to leave if you want. So explain to everybody your role, how you're able to help people, and how do they engage you. Could you go through that? Have you been with Diacon from the very beginning, like Bura was saying?
Well, I joined like few months ago. I can say a couple months, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So not exactly from the beginning, but yeah, I know the process and what they're doing.
Perfect. And your role is onboarding?
I'm the customer success manager.
Customer success manager. So do you run like daily or weekly onboarding sessions?
Well, that's up to the request. So basically, I'm reaching out people, and as you can know from my title, is like I'm trying to make sure that our users are getting the best experience from Diacon. So I'm just reaching them out if they have any questions or any points that they would like to talk about. And based on that, sometimes we can just solve it via email, or we can like request a video call, and I go through all the questions they have.
Nice. And how long is a general onboarding session if someone wanted to kind of schedule an onboarding session? How long does that generally take?
Well, mostly I'm trying to do it in 15 minutes, 15 to the 20 minutes. But sometimes some people, they don't know anything about Diacon, or they don't know how to use it or how to get the maximum benefit. So that can goes up to the 30 minutes.
Oh.
But I'm just trying to limit like 30 minutes max.
Okay. Now, because you offer 3 complementary solutions, are generally people asking you for one platform, or do you have people that would say, "Oh, I want to know Twitter Spaces, I want to know Clubhouse, I want to know Green Room," or do they just focus on one?
Well, that depends on the person, but mostly they are just looking for one specific like application they are using. Because as you know, they can get paid from only one.
Okay.
I mean, that's up to the use of the platforms, but they mostly is asking for the one specific.
Nice. And are there what's like the most unique component? Is Green Room one of the more unique applications to build from because of its, they have the side chat and things like that, or are they all pretty much equivalent in kind of?
On Diacon, we don't have a unique feature for Green Room, so I think Clubhouse has the most complicated feature set and unique features, since we have been providing Clubhouse artists for the last 6 months. But on Twitter Space, we just started. There will be lots of features, even the features that we don't know right now, but there will be a lot, because when we first shipped Diacon for Clubhouse, you could only see the total number of listeners and some basic info. And we have been releasing a new feature for almost every week since February, and things will get crazy. You can be sure about that for Twitter Space as well.
Yeah, it's what's interesting is all the stuff is evolving. Every week there's something new, idealistically, that they're putting into the application. For example, last week they introduced Twitter Spaces, introduced the ability to remind the host to share, to send out a tweet, to send out a DM, to copy the link. For the hosts that have been veterans, this is something that is not new to us, but they realize that more and more people are onboarding. As you move forward, do you think you'll create some sort of onboarding videos to make your job easier? Because I can imagine with all these requests that it's going to be a little overwhelming. Yes.
Yeah, for sure. But I already did some.
Uh-huh.
For example, Clubhouse, I have videos for explaining all the features that we are providing, and I have general onboarding video, and I just did one for the Twitter as well, Twitter Spaces. As soon as you sign up for
we actually
Go ahead.
have that. You can watch the videos, watch the tutorials, but as you know, people like to get some attention, personal attention. So they, instead of watching those videos, they tend to schedule a meeting with Dennis.
Yeah, which is fine. I think it's very important because sometimes the video just might not deal with some of the specifics of their audience or how they're going to use it and things of that nature. So because this is again Monetize Monday, I generally tend to look at monetization. So currently, are you looking into any type of monetizational tools for the creators? Say, for example, if a influencer wanted to use your tool, do you have anything for them in the future?
We don't have anything about monetization right now, but our biggest plan is building an influencer marketing marketplace where brands and agencies can search for influencers by filtering their audience demographics or locations or language, so they can find out the best social audio influencers to work with, and they will be able to get those influencers contact information, and then they can cooperate and work with each other. I think this influencer marketing thing is critical for every social media platform right now, because brands get better results from influencers, and influencers, once they get to earn their lives from creating content, they focus and they spend more time on here. The end users are sticking to the platforms to listen or watch their content. So it's really critical, and we would like to accelerate influencer marketing on social audio. We have almost all of the big brands using social audio right now. For example, Deezer, Shopify, PepsiCo, Vodafone. Even the investors of Clubhouse are using Dicon to get their insights. So we have started with Dennis and Turgut. We have started to build brands, build a customer list of brands, and we already have almost all of the social audio influencers. We just need to bring them together. But since it's new, the influencers are trying to are having hard time to set up a price for their services on social audio. But in time it will be okay. I think brands or agencies and these influencers will talk about that, and we'll came up with a pricing method. And on that day, I think our marketing platform will be a game changer. That's the one thing that we are trying to do, but I think it's too early for that right now.
Yeah, I think the rush to monetization, if you don't have a plan, kind of reduces it. I know that certain this is again why I created this Monetize Monday, to give people an on-ramp to the process, because you need to have a lot of things prepared. You need to look at, for example, your analytics and provide it to the sponsor, to the brands in a coherent standard format. So maybe along the way, we could work together. I could provide some templates that creators could use to help, give them a an advantage when they speak to a creator, like what are the sponsors looking for, things of that nature. So I think that that's very important to have in mind as you prepare to have a little bit more formalized marketplace into the system. So what I wanted to do now is I want to introduce, and invited her up. Very good. Felice, who is the head of marketing at Diacom. I'll give her some time to get collected. So, Felice, how are you doing?
Thanks so much. How are you?
Fantastic. Thanks for joining. I know it's late over there. And I want people to get a sense of what you do for Diacom. I think you're one of the longest employees there at Diacom. I'm just speculating. I don't know. But yeah, just give people a sense of who you are and what you do at Diacom.
Okay. Thank you so much. I'm in charge of marketing process in Diacom team. I know most of the team for a long time, but I joined like a couple of months ago. But marketing, by the way, is a collective approach in our team because we do not have a strict operational structure, and there's a product in here, and also the people who build that. So each of the team members are also like spokesperson or brand ambassadors in social media platforms, because some of the issues are totally and directly related to development processes. Some of them are related to business processes and also customer and creator relationships parts. So from customer support to customer success part, also from development to even design team, we are all in charge with delivering the brand messages, even in Diacom's official account, also in our personal accounts. So, as I said, this is a collective approach for us, and also it's a unique experience as a marketer for me, because we serve serious marketing insights for the audience and content creators. Also, we use those insights for us as well, because we need to get to know our audience in detail and build the personas about them. It's not just about custom audiences. It's also about creating custom marketing campaigns, advertising campaigns, influencer marketings, and also even the channel positioning and medium positioning, because the social media is relatively a new concept for all of us. Its interaction models are totally different with other platforms, because the other platforms requires high visibility and active interaction. But in social audio, even you are silent, that means an interaction as well. So this is a different concept, and also the audience, not only the content creators, also the audience try to keep up that new concept as well. So I believe that the content creation concept will change in a while, because it's you know better than me. Just with talking without gestures or any visibility, it's hard to keep the audience's attention on your session.
Exactly.
So you should find other alternatives or options to optimize your content, optimize your subject. These are all a bunch of data, and we try to clear it all up. I can say that. So this is a relatively new concept for even me and for most of our team members. But this is also a learning process for us. We just try to do our best with Diacom right now.
Yeah, and I think what's the vital component that you mentioned is that you guys are using it, the team is using it, and you're learning from your usage. And it's not just creating a product, on its own. You guys are active users, and you know that things are going to need to be changed, right? You know that there's certain things that are going to be added or dropped from all these platforms. So you want to, basically stand regardless of what changes Clubhouse does or what changes Greenhouse does or what changes Twitter Spaces does. There are some great advantages to the API, but you also have to, create a business that's flexible and changes accordingly, which is something that Buro talked about in regards to the marketplace, right? Because that adds more value outside of the space. So that's phenomenal from a marketing perspective. It doesn't seem like there's a lot of competition in this space currently in regards to providing analytics. Is that correct?
I guess there is the market is not so big right now, the other players, but it's also a chance, also an obstacle for us to develop the product, maybe not only the product or on also the marketing perspective, but we talked about it yesterday night. We have a building public approach, and we value our customers' feedbacks and try to ensure their experience at its best level. So it's a little bit dynamic relative to our products or platforms, because social audio was just a medium, and now it became a unique platform. Even the Spaces is under the Twitter, the major one,
right?
But Clubhouse is a different story. So the competition dynamics will change in a while. I believe that because the message is changing, the opportunities change. Also, content creation dynamics will change as well. So it's not so static, I believe. So the competition or the analysis of the competition and having your next actions according to that is not so simple,
right,
in our product.
One of the interesting things, and we talked about various analytics. One of the questions I had is, I don't see language. Is language going to be incorporated in the future version of the Diacom so that you're able to, see? I guess it's your native languages, right? So I guess you won't. That could be theoretically tied into the listener of what language they're listening in, but I guess it would be based off of the host's language. Just looking at what languages the people are, I guess the listeners are coming in from. I guess that also ties into the location.
And I think it's really easier to do that on Spaces, since we can get the transcript. But we can't do it on Clubhouse because it just misleads the users, because people can speak on other languages, and it's kind of tricky. But on Spaces we can get the language of the space, so we can say that all of the audience understands and speaks this language, and we can provide data according to that. But we haven't think about that to do it soon, but maybe in the future we can do that.
So for those people that are in this space, again, we're running it about another 40 minutes or so. We're announcing some surprises in about 30 minutes, so stay tuned for that. If you have any questions or comments for the Diacom team, just go into my DM, or if you want to speak to them directly, request a mic, and we'll ask your questions directly to the team. We have the founder, CEO of Diacom. We have the customer success manager, and we also have the head of marketing here. So any of your questions that you have, we have the team here. We also have a bunch of other phenomenal people in the house. We have the development team here with Mehmet, I think that's his name. Mehmet. Yes. We have the creator relationship manager, Turgut. And we have Celine, another customer support manager that's here. So we have actual team members here, which is phenomenal. So if you have any questions, either send me a direct message, or if you wanted to ask them on the mic, just remember this is a recorded space. So feel free to do that. One of the questions that came up was The content that's being shared on the Nest is currently, I don't think, part of the API. Um, I'm not sure if that's correct or not, but are you able to export the tweets that are in the space that are pinned to the top into Diacom?
You mean can we get the tweets in the Nest?
Yes.
To be honest, I don't know that. I need to talk with my co-founder, who is sleeping right now.
No worries. I don't think the API had opened that up, but I wasn't sure if you guys have looked into alternative ways to get that data.
Technically we can do that, but we wouldn't want to do that if they don't provide it via API.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So that everything is on the up and up. So now let's talk a little bit about the future. Let's talk about where you guys are heading. I know that there's a lot of great things that you guys have in store. So is the influencer marketplace the biggest thing that you're working on for the future, or do you have anything that, for example, allows someone to showcase their future audio rooms or anything along those lines that you might want to discuss?
Well, right now we are only focusing to keep up with the customer requests, and we would like to make sure that we provide almost all of the data we can. So we are not making long-term plans yet, and we are just making research and take notes. But right now we are focusing on more short-term plans, and we are trying to provide as much as data we can, because since the market is new and it's still in beta, so we making long-term plans is not it doesn't make sense right now. But the biggest future plan is providing a marketplace, as you said.
Okay. So I want to be also sensitive because it is very late over there. So I wanted to, make sure that what we provide is, or what we create is great for everybody. So right now, what we're going to do is we're going to actually reveal the surprises now. So hold on just a second as I get some tweets in here. So boom, and let's see here. Boom, boom, and great, and
well, this is why you should have a co-host. I couldn't invite.
Hello. Can you hear me here?
Yes, right now we can.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, my phone restarted, but that's okay. So what I wanted to do, I know it's very late over there. I want to be respectful for my guests. I think what they've been providing us has been extremely, extremely valuable. I'm going to actually put a tweet that I think is going to be very useful for everybody. So what I'm going to do as a surprise, so if you go here, boom, go to this link. Okay, go to this link. This link that I have here to Diacom. And what I wanted to do is announce some winners for today of something special. So Pura, would you like to announce it, or should I explain who the winner is and what they get?
I think you could do it better than me.
Okay, phenomenal. I appreciate that. So what we're going to do now is, again, this has been many months of negotiation, several hundred people involved, just to make sure that my Monetize Monday moguls get the very best of the very best. I talked to Felice for hours and hours, and Bura from hours and hours. So that's why they're so tired, because I wore them down for you people. I wore them down. Anyway, so what we're going to do is I wanted to, again, provide more value than the entry fee of this particular space. So let me see, I'm going to select some people. Let me go ahead, take some screenshots. And this is what got me in trouble before, because I was taking a screenshot of the room, and that's kind of what blocked it in. So I'm going to give, let's see, hold on a second. I just want to get the name correct. Okay, good. And let me go to the tickets. Who was the first to buy a ticket? So the first person to buy a ticket, here we go. Why doesn't it show? Okay, hold on a second. Okay. So the first person to buy a ticket for today, let me just go back into my timeline. A lot of things have been shared. So where is it? This is so bizarre. I took it out of my space, but I think I know who it is. Hold on. Okay, so Enigma 606 was the first person to buy a ticketed space in this space. So Enigma gets 30-day free trial, which is an exclusive only for the monetized moguls. So congrats, but use the link at the very top to sign up. Then, because I am generous, because this is the kind of guy I am, let me go see. I'm just going to take the first two. And my South Floridian buddy, Tanya, also gets 30 days of free trial of Diacom. Thank you very much. And wait, hold on just a second. Hold on just a second. I think I'm getting a call from Oprah. Hold on a second.
Okay.
What is Oprah's? Go ahead. Bura, you were going to say something?
Yeah. If you guys, the winners, if you have already a paying customer of Diacom, please let us know via the live chat so we can figure it out. Because I think Tanya might be. I'm
Okay.
not sure.
So
and also, if you use that link, it will not automatically give you that offer, but your offer will be on your dashboard tomorrow when we wake up.
Perfect.
So I just want to mention that.
Very good. So I just got a call from Oprah, and what Oprah told me is that all these phenomenal people in the space, starting with Stephen, Eileen, Andrew, Chris, Dr. J, Pixie, Bobby, and Carlos, all of you are going to get 30 days. Oprah had to make the call, folks. If it wasn't for Oprah, you guys, would have been two winners. But everyone gets 30 days. You get 30 days, and you get 30 days. So everybody that I just called out, everybody gets 30 days. If you haven't signed up, use the link at the very top and register. If you've already registered, connect with me so that we could get you started. This is the value. This is what I bring to Monetize Monday. When you come, I want to give you more than what you came in with. So again, everybody here, if you haven't signed up yet, click on the very top, sign up right now. We'll get you sorted out with the 30 days. Again, this is a Monetize Monday exclusive that we will have been able to. I've been negotiating for months and months. Just a couple hours, really. But
except Diacom employees, if you guys work for us, you still need to pay.
Exactly. So
Phyllis, Dennis, you still need to pay. I got excited,
but that's why I didn't call your name. I didn't want to excite you too much. So
I was reading my name though. But
see, so this is the value. So make sure that you tweet this out, folks. This is again an exclusive. Thank you for participating. We're doing an experiment here with Twitter and ticketed spaces. So I just want to make sure that we add value and stay tuned. We are not done yet with Diacom. For right now, we are, because they have to go to sleep and create a great product for us to use in the future. So stay tuned for more excitement. Everything that we talked about here hasn't been announced yet. It's going to be announced, so stay tuned for that. But yeah, so I really appreciate your time. Thank you for very much. We're gonna cut this one short because the value that was provided was so immense that it's crashing the Twitter service, and I had to like reboot my system because the deal was so hot, my phone couldn't take it. So so yeah, so I really appreciate the team, Bura, Denise, Phyllis, Mehmet, uh, Torgot, and Celine, and the rest of the members that were here earlier. I want everybody to just put 100s as a thank you for everybody being here and making time. I really appreciate everybody's time here. Stay tuned for the next Monetize Monday. We're going to have more special guests. And if you have someone that you want me to speak to, talk to, let me know. Send me a DM. Better yet, send out a tweet that says, I want to see this person on Monetize Monday using the hashtag and tag me on it so that we could get anyone that you want in the world. It doesn't matter. We'll figure it out. So, so put up the 100s for the phenomenal team. Thank you very much for staying late. We really appreciate your time. Everyone here is going to go test and give you a shout out and tweet out, some things. So again, thank you very much. We're going to cut this one a half an hour early so you guys could sleep and so that everybody could start getting prepared. So look in your DMs for tomorrow. And you're going to get, again, sign up for the link. If you haven't signed up, go to that very top, sign up. And then from there, let us know, send me a DM with the photo that in the email or whatever that you signed up. And then I'm going to put the whole list together, give it to Bora and get you guys established with the 30 days. So before we close, is there anything else that you wanted to share about the future or anything else? How do we best kind of get involved? How do we best support the Diacom team?
No, just thank you for your understanding and having us today. It was a really pleasure for me, and I'm sure for our team members as well. We are really sorry because it's kind of really late here, and I'm trying to resist sleeping. But if you, as I said, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to Dennis, Phyllis, me, or Selen. We are all here to help, and we may keep it up doing spaces. And if we have a huge update, I will let you know so we can make another space together to let our listeners informed.
Yeah, absolutely. In a month or two or whatever, we'll come back. We'll give them an update. We'll see what happens and, get some testimonials, get some videos of how you guys are using it creatively. I know Felice wants to know all about how you're using it creatively for their marketing purposes. So, let's help them out. Let's all grow together. I think it's very vital. So again, thank you very much. I really appreciate your time. And for those people that want to stay, we could, stay. But the Diacom team, you guys could, thank you again very much. We really appreciate your time. I'm going to stay just another, 20 minutes for the people that do want to stay just to answer some questions or just to kind of do a recap. But again, thank you everybody from the Diacom team. I really appreciate you making the time for us. And we look forward to, using Diacom and, putting it through its paces. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
All right. Have a great one, guys. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, so as they go, I think this was a great thank you, Denise. I appreciate it very much.
Thank you guys so much as well. As I say, if you guys have any questions or you guys need to reach me out, you can just send me an email. My name at diacon.com, DENIZ. And I'd like to help you guys go through all the questions that you have.
Well, thank you. We really appreciate it. And then we'll do a follow-up tomorrow.
All right, sounds great. Thank you guys. Thank you for the time and for the listening.
Yes.
And hope to see you guys again. All right.
Yes, indeed. So have a good rest. We will talk soon.
Thank you. Thanks. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye. So it's a great team. I'm glad we were able to put this together. I know it was very timely because they just announced their products and services. It's one of the few apps, if not the sole app, that allows us to collect analytics. Now you get it to not only think about it, they're making changes almost, several times a week. So what the product is now is not going to be what the product is a week from now, 2 weeks from now, 3 weeks from now, 4 weeks from now, because you have 30 days to use this. So you're going to have an unfair advantage. You could start, planning out some of your content, looking at how you could look at the data, potentially get a sponsor within the 30 days because you have the analytics, and then the sponsor can underwrite the future use of the product, you know? So if you look at how much the product costs, let me go over some of the numbers for you. So going here, and if you click on track my spaces, boom. So it's the basic is for free, 5 rooms. Then you have the $15 a month, $49 a month for premium, pro 99. So you're going to get access to these things, and it's going to be phenomenal. So again, this is just one of the rewards that I'm going to bring to my monetized Monday moguls. I'm always going to look at providing you more than you generated. I guess the only request is when you're in it like a ticketed space, just to promote that, just so that other people can be a part of it, so that they learn and miss out. But I was glad to be able to provide everyone that was here with the bonus, because I think it's very valuable. And I think that's that. So again, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, just DM me. My DMs are always open. And if you want to come up to the mic, request the mic, we could have a discussion. And I'm going to actually, let's see here. Boom, boom, boom. Brett, you just joined a little late. We gave out some awards, my friend. So yeah, so that is the deal. I just want to make sure that I get everybody's name, for the image that we're going to put out. Because last week, can you guys hear me okay? Yes? Put a 100 if you could still hear me. Something just quickly changed. Let's see if it did or not. Okay, great. Pixie, you can still hear me. That's good. All right. So yeah, so if you have any questions, let me check my DMs. And if not, what I'm going to do is great, have an account. Beautiful. Thanks a lot for that. And then also never get the speakers have to leave. Okay, reconnect. Okay, so there is some situations that I am noticing. Thank you for the DMs of letting me know about some of the back end components of connecting and not connecting and things like that. So that is something that they're going to be working out on the ticketed spaces side. But I do, number one, what did you guys think? Send me a DM of what you thought of like the content. Was it useful? Number one, if you thought it was useful, put the 100. If you, again, I just want to get some feedback so that I know how to best organize this for the future. What do you guys think? Was it useful? Did you get a lot out of it? Do you appreciate knowing about future features and functions of this app? Was that like important to know? Is there a question that I missed somehow? Andrew, thanks for joining. You just missed out. We're like 10 minutes more left. But yeah, I'm definitely, again, give me your thoughts. This is all an experiment, especially with the ticketed spaces. I just want to be able to like continuously like give more than are traditionally done on a Twitter space. I want to see what kind of creative things we could do on here. So I think having exclusive being dropped, if you go through, let me just quickly summarize, starting from the second tweet. So the first thing is that this week, actually yesterday, 350,000 listeners in 3 hours, 64,000 listeners at once. This was put together by Carrot Bunk. I'm not sure how to best pronounce that. Set the record. 15% stickiness rate, which means that they stayed throughout the whole thing. So if you go to the second tweet, I'm just reading it. So that kind of sets a kind of a standard. Also, one of the things to note, and Tanya, I'm going to bring you up. One of the things to note is stickiness rate. Generally, it's a 7 to 10% stickiness rate. So that's interesting to find out. One of the things that wasn't discussed was, as of right now, ticketed spaces, the analytics aren't there just yet. I'm working with them to kind of figure that out. This is more of a situation with Twitter and them. So I understood that going in. So as Tanya makes her way up, I'll keep reading the tweets. So right now, what they're able to do, you're back at listener. I'm not sure what's going on. This could be a situation with the space. I'm not sure. So we'll see what happens. So real-time analytics, which is great. Able to see different speakers as they come in and how long they spoke for. Able to see male, female, all those types of things, which is great. So great analytical stuff, great analytics. So Tanya, welcome.
It was awesome. Thank you for hosting this. It was worth it.
Yes. Well, thank you for coming in. I really appreciate it. Thank you for investing in the ticketed space. Let's go a little meta. What was the process of, buying a ticket for ticketed space for the people that don't know, that are listening in? Was it smooth? Any hiccups? What was your experience? Oh, and she's back down. Now she's having the issues at the end, which is very interesting. So we'll get her feedback when she comes back in. This is something that I'll need to obviously provide to the Twitter Spaces team. And what was great is that I didn't have any technical issues until like the very end, like right now. And it was because there was a fundamental issue with, I don't think if it's Twitter Spaces or Twitter, I think it might be the iPhone. I have to go to the store to figure out. When I do take a lot of screenshots, there are issues with the phone just resetting, but we'll take a look at that and move it forward. So when and if Tanya connects, want to get her feedback, because I think is very vital. Anyone else that wants to join in the conversation, just let me know.
Working. Is it working?
Tanya, I can hear you.
You guys.
Tanya, I could hear you. Can you hear me? Hello. Can you hear me? Okay, she's back. Let me just invite her to speak and see what happens here. So I'm glad that this didn't happen throughout. I think we had some good speak. I don't see how you invite to just came in. Okay, good. Yes, Dr. J, I gave you a link to buy the, for the ticket. So here we go. Tanya, you're there?
I just want to share my story.
Great. I just want to make sure that we could hear you and you could hear us. Can you hear me okay? Hello. Tanya, share. I don't think you could hear. Or can you hear? Can you hear, Tanya? Grab the mic when you are ready. Grab the mic. Okay, so she was having some technical issues. We'll sort that out. So yeah. So let's see what is happening. But it's actually good that we're kind of sorting this out as we speak. Anyone else that wants to grab the mic and speak, highly encourage it. Just because I want to just test out this issue that Tanya's having to see if someone else is having it. I know right now what's happening is the share. Let me cancel this. Interesting. So what I'm finding too is that when the share, at least for me, I could close. Interesting. So for a while, I couldn't close the share via tweet dialog box until I shared it. So I'm not sure if that's a bug or not, but we'll sort that out. So again, anyone that wants to grab the mic, let me know your thoughts. Let me know your feedback. Let me know if I missed a question that you wanted me to ask. Also, I want to know, who else should I bring up? Who should I have here? Who should be next? Because I want to get the best speakers to our discussion. So I see Carlos is joined. Carlos, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Fantastic. And Tanya, are you there? Can you hear me?
Okay, let's try this again.
Great. You could hear me okay, yes?
I don't know.
Hold on, Carlos.
Can you hear me?
Hold on, Carlos. Go ahead, Tanya.
Thank God. Hi, everyone.
Hey, welcome. So yes, let us know your thoughts.
I threw a birthday party for Ariel this last Saturday, and I used the data that I collected while running the Diacon software.
Nice.
The analytics. So I helped Ariel out, and I just ran it on his. I did 4 of his Twitter Spaces, and I was able to pull the people who attended, but also who he let speak. So And so I can't really like go invite everybody. It was just, it's his birthday party. So
Right.
I invited all the people that spoke at 4 of his Twitter spaces that had collected data for him.
Oh, nice.
So he had a really good turnout. So I just, I really like the way the software is going. It's just sad that we can't download our audio anymore. It was so good. I was spoiled.
Yeah, because it was an MP3 file, yeah? Hello. Can you hear me okay? Carlos, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, so maybe we just lost Tanya. So it's good that you're here, Carlos, because you could give me some feedback.
Hear Houseland, though.
You cannot.
Houseland, can you hear us?
I could hear you. So tell her, let me mute myself. How about now? What I'm also going to do is I'm going to go from Wi-Fi to 5G to see if that helps. Hold on a second. Okay, so now I am changing over. I'm on 5G. Tanya, can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, great. So what do you think of the timeliness? Was this a good time to talk to DICOM?
It's great, but you sound like you have one of those amplifier on.
Really? So
Can I? It's amplifier now.
This is actionable of the voice.
Do I sound better now or the same?
The same. It sounds good though.
Okay.
I think it's great because when you're doing stuff, you always have to look at the analytics to really gauge in what you're doing. Does it work? Does not working? How are you gauging your audience? How are you going to develop the plan? Because we all could do this for fun, but then we can turn around and make something for fun that we can make up an income out of. So again, depending on what you look to do with your Twitter spaces, but I like a finished product, and that this really gives me a finished product by utilizing this app, or I don't know what you want to call it, but it's pretty good. I love it.
Yeah, it's very nice. Carlos, have you used DICOM? Are you familiar with what they do?
Well, it happened something very funny to me because I did use the link and I was going to register, and they said that my name, Cecilia Stando, was already taken by myself like 10 years ago. I forgot that I had already registered. So I had to check because I used another password. So I will fix that in a moment, just to try to get, because I did try to register because I forgot I was already registered in DICOM, but for the connectivity issues, I was never able to try it as Tonya tried with the birthday thing.
Perfect. So we're all getting familiar with it. They launched a couple of weeks ago, as soon as the API was launched. So take it, use that link, set up your account. You're going to get 30 days of free access to the application. So we all get to test drive it early, which is great. And it was fascinating to see how they were looking at Twitter ads, how they were incorporating the CSV file, and how you're able to export your attendees to your space. I think that's going to be major. So we could create custom ads targeted specifically at the people that have been participating in our spaces. What do you think about that, Tanya?
I love it. Because when you run in Facebook ads, when Facebook was the thing, my clients would spend a lot of money on it. So you want to figure out.
Oh, we lost her.
And I have a last minute question. Since thanks to Oprah, we were able to, all of us, we were here, the Cutty Prize. Can you get me also an autograph of Oprah?
An autograph. Oh, she was calling. DM me. She was calling me over the phone. So you're gonna have to wait for it to come by mail. But yeah, we can sort that out.
Okay, thank you very much.
Tanya, can we hear you? Are you able to hear us? We lost you for a second. I think we must have. She got brought down as a listener. I'm glad it happened at the end. I don't like that it is happening, but at least that we covered all the pieces. I did invite her again so we could sort that out. So she's coming back up, which is great. We're still sorting out the ticket issue. Steven and the other folks that are coming in. There is a 15-minute window that you have to enter the space. If you enter the space 16 minutes after it started.
Try it out, especially if I've been on the paid version.
Uh-huh.
So I like it more. But then the next level one is where you can run more than two Twitter spaces at the same time.
Oh, nice.
Run the analytics.
Wow. That's crazy. Can you hear me okay, Tanya? I think she lost me again. So I think I'll end this space because there's a lot of issues with it with Tanya. So again, I thank you very much, all the people that participated, stayed to the end, got the tickets. We're gonna get you all sorted out. And yeah, so that's it. Again, thank you very much. Again, if you want me to speak to anybody in the world about monetization, just let me know, tweet it out. We'll make it happen. We'll see if we can make it happen depending on their schedule. And we could go from there. So let's see if Tanya has some final words here as we wrap this up. So let's see. Tanya, can you hear us? She's still connecting. Bobby Bicker in the house. Dr. J in the house. We have Sharice in the house. Stephen in the house. Eileen in the house. Tanya looking to connect. Tanya, can you hear me?
I'm here, but I don't think it's working for me. So thank you for hosting this. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you fine. We're about to end it now.
Yes, sorry about the delay. I don't know what the hell's going on, but it was great. Thank you so much. I look forward till next Monday.
Yes, indeed. And again, tweet out who you want me to speak with, and we'll see if we can make it happen.
Sounds good.
All right, everyone. So thank you very much for being a part of today's Monetize Monday. Ticketed Spaces number dos. I greatly appreciate you staying, participating, and sharing. It was very helpful, and I hope I was been able to provide, value for the participation. I greatly appreciate it. I'm just taking some screenshots of the space of all the pinned tweets. But yeah, so thank you very much. I really appreciate it. I'm going to end it now. I appreciate everyone's time, and thank you for being a part of this journey with me. All right. So have a great one, and we will talk soon. Ciao for now.